Hello and welcome to Wikipedia Weekly Network here, where Albin Larsson and I, Jan Ainali, are editing Wikidata Live. How are you doing, Albin?
I'm doing great. I had a lovely day today. It's like the first day of the year where I could start doing a bit of gardening once again. So I've been pruning an apple tree today.
All right.
And how are you, Jan?
I'm well. I have been doing gardening a little bit longer, but I don't have a garden, so it's only indoors. But I have a few things coming up already. So
Right.
that's quite nice, and we had a lovely day today. But we're not going to do gardening on Wikidata. Instead, it's the ongoing Olympics.
Right. Have you been watching anything, Jan?
Not that much. I mostly been following it from the recent changes on Wikipedia, seeing
Oh,
who's adding gold where, and it seems like we're doing pretty well for Sweden.
yeah. I think we are in the top 5 in the medal list, so to say.
Yeah, that's
And
fairly good. But of course, the Winter Olympics is our games.
indeed.
Yeah. But what are you planning to doing around this?
I'm thinking about having a look at how the sports have changed over times in the Olympics, like how many people participated in bob this year and compared to that year and so on. And maybe take some of the inspiration from our past episodes and do some things with templates and query templates. So one can like change the sport very easily or even switch to the Summer Olympics and things like that.
Nice.
And you, Jan?
I'm gonna do something with time as well, but different. I was curious, like, how old were people when they were winning their medals? And I
Right.
think we have pretty good coverage of winners of every sport. So I was thinking about doing a query with that, and I think that is going to be a little bit tricky. So
Indeed. Then you need to
yeah,
start like when was they born compared to when did they win something? Yeah,
yeah,
indeed. Interesting.
yeah. And it turns out we don't have complete set of data, so we'll have to do some few tricks as well. So
Right.
I think I should go right and jump right into it. So let me share my screen here. I'm sorry for the little narrow view. I have some problems with my Ubuntu. So I want to select winners. So let's call them that, so we can easily keep track of what we're doing. So let's call them winner. And I guess for troubleshooting, we'll both take the winner and the winner label. So I'm going to add the query service here soon, but let's start with this. And we'll have an end for that as well. And the winner, I think we can narrow it down a little bit. I'm not interested if I'm not sure if it has been, but if there has been any horses or anything else, I don't care. So I only want the human winners. So we'll go for control space for the this autocomplete thing and the instance of P31. And I want human, which is Q5. It's central in this Wikidata system. And then I only actually, since I want to know how old they are, I sort of must know when they were born. So I'm not even doing this optional. So I want the date, not the data, the date of birth. There we have it. 569. That's one I don't know by heart. And we're going to call that EOB is quite common. Birth. If I run this now, it kind of goes for go through all the humans. So that's going to time out, I guess. So we'll have to narrow it down a little bit. But now comes a little bit tricky part, like what should we want? So we want, and I'm going to call this, I want I have a clue that there is, we do have the sports events and there's some property for the winner. So I'm going to ask for sport. I don't know really how what this is called yet. So let's see if there's a property called winner. Oh, easy. All right. So winner. And we want, of course, the winner to be our winner. If I run this now, this might actually work. Let's just try this. I didn't try this before. So now we would get all the humans that are a winner in every kind of event in sport. And that's 167,000. Now, we only want the sports that are Olympic sports event. And I don't know how that actually modeled. So I'm going to go to Wikidata here and see what we want. Data. And I want, I'm going to go to the Olympic. Oh, I have it on Swedish here. That's not helpful for you. Let's just switch to English. Olympic Winter Games. I think that's the name of it. Winter Olympics 94. That's not what I wanted. I wanted the current one. But we should have follow and... No, wait, this is a game about part of the series Winter Olympics game. Is there a theme? Nah. What is it called then? I did this in Swedish when I was looking for Winter Olympics, Winter Olympic Games. It's probably the year first, of course. Let's go with, start with 2022.
Jan, could you zoom a little to...
I will.
To make up for the narrow screen today, I think.
Yes. There we go. 2022 Winter Olympics closing ceremony. That's... I don't see the... Yes. It's underneath here, of course.
Oh,
and this is the bug. This is the bug again. And I figure out what it is. It's in a Fabricator ticket already. And it's when you start writing before all the JavaScript is loaded. But there we go. The 2022 Winter Olympics. And now I believe there are... here we have like has part, all the different things. And I'm going to start. You can see I already visited this. The alpine skiing. But of course, this is not the specific event because this is sort of like all the things within. And in 2018, these are modeled here, but it is not on this one. But you can see there are links to here. So it's not symmetrical yet. But here you can see the different ones. So if you take a look, for example, at the women's slalom, the winner wasn't added yet. But this is one specific thing that could have a winner. Let's go to 2018 perhaps to actually see this. So let's go to the 2018 Winter Olympics. And here we have them all. Let's go to the women's slalom again, perhaps. Can't find it. There. And here we have the winner. And now this is connected, or rather, this has this great thing, Olympic sporting event. So we want all the winter winners from the winter, no, not the winter. We want all of them. So Olympic sporting events. So that's what we want to go back here to the query. So we want this sport to also be an instance of, that's the one, Olympic sporting event. That's the one. Now, if I run this, we should actually get all the winners. So let's see how many that is. 6,603. That seems plausible, I guess. Yeah. Now I haven't added
considering teams.
Yeah. I want to add the service here so we can see the name of these and see if it sort of makes sense. Because I had the label column was, it's gonna take a little bit more time for it to retrieve it now. Carl Lewis is in here. That seems like it's plausible. There are a few more I see. I see doubles as well. This could be that they have one
More than one.
many times, but it could also be that I have perhaps double birthday. So just to be sure, I'm going to make this distinct. Let's see if it changes anything. Yes, 5,000. So a little bit it changed. No, actually now I'm filtering out if they won several times. So perhaps I should add the sport table here so I see what they won in. Now we could get, if they win in different events, it will increase again. Yes, back up to 6,500 something. And now we see here all the good things. So we're good on our way here. But I wanted to find out how old were they here. So to do that, we need two things. First, we need to know when it actually happened. And second, we need to do some sort of calculation to find out their age. So we can continue here. Or actually, well, I'm going to go back here and see how was it modeled on this item. So here we have three different things. We have point in time, start time, and end time. And I have seen some with only point in time and some with only start and end time. And this actually makes sense if the event takes more than 1 day. Many events is just 1 day, and then of course point in time is perfectly fine. And here both is used, which should make it easier to query for. So I'm just going to try first with the point in time and see, and then I'm making this optional. Just see what we get. So this will be sort of like, it's still on the sport. And point in time, 585. I'm going to call this now a little bit strangely for event point. And you'll see later. And let's add that up here if we get one. And see how much data is missing when I do it like this. So, of course, since it's an optional, it should be the same number of results here. And then we see...
It looks really good.
Yeah, but if I sort them here, I get a lot of empty.
That's a neat trick.
A lot of empty things. So...
That's 200, the first page?
Yep, 200 on the first page. So that's a little bit too much for me to go in here and actually add all the data in today. So that's why I'm going to take a shortcut to get some sort of like something rough in here. So we could also do an optional for, and if we take a look at this one again, for the end time, which is sort of like, that's when the competition stops. and that's the age of when they. Now it doesn't matter. It's going to be 1 day here or there. But let's check for the sport. And end time 582. So that here's, I'm going to call this event end. If I run this now, I'm getting, oh, I forgot to select it. That's there. It's just 5 seconds, so it's not too bad. And now we're going to see somewhere we have both, somewhere we only have the one or the other. So now if I sort on this one, well, here we have nothing there. And if I do sort of the other way around, when we get to the, so yeah. So here's the trick then. There's a thing in Sparkle called coalesce, which is it a function?
I think it is.
Yeah, which you give it a couple of things, and it's going to take the first one that is not an error in that order that you feed it to it. And if it's blank, in this case, it's actually an error. So that's pretty handy for this purpose. So it, and of course, we're going to feed that into a new parameter. So we're going to bind something here. And I'm going to call this event time. And we can remove both these up here to event time. And then to use this, we're going to use this coalesce. And luckily, the coloring says I spelled it right. So coalesce. And then I go in here and I say, well, first I want, if there is an event end, let's go with that, because that's when it's ending. And if you don't get an event end, go with the event point. And take the first one of these that is not an error and name it as event time. And now I think all right. So that seemed good, but let's see here, sort again. I don't want to have any blanks, but I still do get blanks. And that means some of these events, and they are still quite a lot of them, because there's still more, less than 200, but still quite a lot of them are missing. So I'm gonna, just for the purpose of this, take an even more of a shortcut. So, and to do that, I'm gonna take, find out this. And if we go back here, we see that this is part of the alpine skiing at the Winter Olympics. So perhaps this has some sort of date. And it does.
Point in time.
Yes. So let's see if we can do an optional for that as well. So we'll do an optional. Now it's going to be the sport. So this is going to be the. Let me take a little bit. Yes. So sport. Spelling is good. It was part of. Part of. There we go. 361. And this is the Olympic thing. So I'm going to call it Olympic. and then the Olympic thing, add the point in time. So now I'll call this Olympic point.
Right.
So it's a little bit nested here, but now I also have to add this one in my, well, if you don't have that one, and if you don't have the event point, then go with the Olympic point.
Right.
Go with it.
And this is one of the nice functions where you can just with concat, you can just add as many as you want.
Yeah, very handy. And then let's see if we still have some blanks. And it looks good here. I'm gonna sort it. And no blanks.
1st of January, a lot of them.
Yes, so it's probably just a year. And this is 1896 Summer Olympics, probably not 1st of January. So now we're sort of almost there. Now we have the start time, the end time, and now we just need to figure out, well, how do I calculate the date for this? And there are a lot of different things to do that, but I'm actually going to take a shortcut again and not do it myself, because one thing that actually I remembered when doing this, now let's see how I can do. What's the Wikidata newsletter? What's the
try searching like that and see.
I think the blue one here are, but this is not the newsletter I wanted. I'm actually going to do it easy for me. I'm going to go to Swedish Wikipedia because I get it served to my user talk.
Nicholas suggests in the chat that it might be status update.
That might be the name of it. And now what am I looking for? Because there were some good queries here in one of the previous one. And here it was 505. Age of the actress when she played Elizabeth Bennet. And so let me. So someone was looking for actors and they age when something was created. So we can see here they have a date of birth, date of production, and age. Very handy. And I just happened to remember this because it was just a few weeks ago.
That's a lot of decimals.
Yes, because they are doing a shortcut as well, a fairly decent shortcut, I would say. So let's take a look how the query is actually made here. So it binds the date of production minus the date of birth and divides it by some average number of days in a year. So this is not exactly right, but it's close enough for our purposes. So I'm just going to borrow all this. And
that's an interesting part. I remember we had this trouble as well with our calendar. Years that do not have 365 days.
Yes. And now, of course, we don't call it date of production, but event time. We didn't call it date of birth, but DOB, but that should work. And then I'll just put in here the age. And I think that this might do it. And it's not a really hard calculation, so it didn't even increase the time here, what I could see. And this seems like plausible things. So I think we're in the right. But of course, now when we sort the age, we're going to find probably some strange things. So let's see what we get. Oh, first of all, we got a few which are missing. They are, are they missing? But it's not. Do they have unknown?
That could be.
So they know the unknown value, so it's not missing. All right, interesting. So it handles it by showing it as a blank. That's all right. Then we have someone 421 years old. That seems wrong. let's take a look at Gian Giorgio Trissino. If his birthday is wrong. Italian Renaissance humanist. No, I think his birthday might be right, but we might have the wrong person then as the
Indeed.
winner. So let's scroll down all the way to the site links. It's already, see, I already went to this person today.
Oh, it's...
And you can see in his article, oh, are you looking for the Olympian? Check out this guy instead. So I think we should update here. So let's see what his Wikidata object was. There we go. That's another one with the same name. Ooh, so this item is wrong. I have to add back sport here. Run it so I can click it.
Nicholas points out that dates are complicated. I can only agree with this when it
Yes,
comes to
yes.
the Wikidata Sparkle service. We are
Yeah.
missing a couple of functions from the standard, which could be really nice.
Yeah. Let's check here. The winner of the 1900s was not the Italian Renaissance humanist, but it was another one with the same name. And now I think this is probably what this one says. Let me check that though.
Yeah, most likely.
Wait, where did I go now? The URL says something here, which is not where the page I ended up in.
That's very true.
This is very odd. Is there let's go to, someone pasted in even the wrong thing. So, all right, so that makes me think that I should remove this source.
Yeah.
And does this one say link to the wrong person, or? No, that one links to the right person. All right. So, well, it's important from there. That's all right. So I can publish that. So it turns out this was also a nice way to find odd things. Does it seem likely someone
is 80 years old?
No, there's something else wrong. It's the boxing in 1932 and the event time is 1992.
Interesting. 1990. Oh, it got 2 dates.
It's not the 1992. I'm just going to remove that one.
Yeah, that looks very odd.
No references. What does the history say? Has this been like for a long time?
Control F, looking for the date.
It's even on, not even on the first page.
Right.
No, there are some. Wait, what? I'm just going to remove it. This is not correct. It wasn't in 1992. So that should fix the other one. Close a few things here. Then we have something that's probably true. Shooting pistol. That's usually people of age are good at.
Yeah.
So I think I'm fine with this. Now let's check the other way around. Oh, someone swimming at the 2016 Olympics, event time 1912. It has the start time and end time, and I selected for that, But this is just plain wrong. German Wikipedia. I think the bot, or the import has been wrong. So I'm just going to delete this one as well. Joop and Joop. And let me just quickly go back. We have a few other errors here. These are probably wrong. 13, this might be right. 10, I'm pretty sure is going to be wrong. Let's just check if Marjorie, and let's go to the English Wikipedia. If we find the link, and we can, I'll have to zoom for you here. But at the age of 13 years and 260 days, making her the youngest person.
Right.
So the youngest person is in my query, and then we can safely assume that these are errors as well, and the negative, of course. And I know some of these are like they are born in the 19th century, which for some reason give them 1900, 1st of January 1900, rather than like 1850 or something, which is a little bit odd. And I guess this is the same, but it's a later date.
That's a neat. So we could actually make this query like give us the right result if we did a bit of cleanup.
Yes, and not a lot either. It's just 6, 7 to fix. So I'll post it. Oh, no, I'm not going to post it. I'm going to give you the banner for the if you want to see how it was done. And there we go. 4 p.m. 7.
Right. And I'm going to head straight over to the cursors because I want to do something rather similar to what Jan did, but with a slightly different approach. I want to, if you notice there, when he was at the Olympic discipline, it very often had the number of participants. And I'm kind of interested, as someone interested in both sports and history, I want to see like a timeline of how that changes for various sports over time. And that's what I want to achieve today. A way that we can just use a template query, select the sport, and see it on the timeline, how the number of participants have changed over time. So that's the goal for today. Let's see if we get there. So first off, if I just do a template here, like what we get with the autocomplete, we kind of get this query here where we can, which will power or drop down where we want to select the sport. So actually, because that query will be a bit more complicated than usual, I will actually write it here in its own query and paste it in here because I only want the sports that actually happened at the Olympics. So that's my start. And to get each of those sports, I would need to pick up the disciplines and the sport and the sport property on them. So let's see if I can select the disciplines in a nice way. And I will actually do that by first selecting like all the Winter Olympic Games and check they're part of. This is kind of nice that I used me watching Jan playing with those items. So I'm gonna select star because that's how I do it, and then you're gonna select Olympic Games, and let's see if I can get this right at the first time. That should be instance of, and they should be an instance of. In this case, I think I'm gonna go with like Winter Olympic Games. Let's see if that exists. VD. There we go. Let's see if we get the correct one from that. Olympic Games followed by Olympic Games label and add a service here. And it should be that one. Let's try this. 28, 24, 28, 32. It looks good. We got a couple of future ones, but that's
right.
fine for now, I imagine.
Yeah.
So that's the Olympic Games. Now we want the various disciplines and their sport. So you're gonna go with Olympic discipline and do part of. And I'm aiming that I remember this correctly. And here it can be any of the Olympic Games. And we might see some odd things here because why doesn't it want to complete my Oli? What? Okay, I'm gonna copy instead. Hopefully I didn't do an error. We might see some odd things here because the sport changes over time. So I don't think any new sport was added this year. But for example, for the Olympics in Italy in another 4 years, I think they have voted in things like mountaineering and maybe something else. So we might see that there might even be gaps somewhere. I don't know if any, at least in the Winter Olympics, has like disappeared from the Olympics and then came back. But we'll see. Then, so here we got, hopefully, the Olympic discipline. So if I select that again, and I want to pick up the sport, EDT, and for that we just got the sport property that we use on like everything. Sport. Let's see if I can get that right. And I just want sport, and I might be doing a bit of a long shot here, hoping that I didn't do an error. Label. There we go. 300 results. Yeah, that makes sense because I'm not doing a distinct.
In total,
so we see
yeah.
duplicates here. So military patrol, for example, I don't know if that's still around.
No.
Nordic combined is ice hockey,
Yes.
alpine skiing, and so on.
Yeah.
Bob, ski jumping. Yeah. So let's add a distinct here as well. And just gonna see 26 only.
That seems
somewhat realistic.
Yeah.
We can even see. Let's see here. Did I see mountaineering? I did. Can I see it on the item? Let's load.
So it might be more common that they actually change within the sport. So like if they had like a specific length of a skiing, and that might change, but that you won't really pick up in this.
Yeah. So this one might be interesting because maybe it's only in the future, the mountaineering one, which means, first of all, Wikidata is really good on future events, already having the discipline in there. And then we might not have a participants on that one.
Yeah.
So it might be a blank one in this dropdown. Okay. Then we need to make sure that this like works with the template query. So I'm actually gonna have a look at it by just putting in template here and seeing what does it want us to return. Just ID. And ID should actually be like the URI. So I'm just gonna rename sport height to ID. And select ID up here, and I think that should be it. And I don't need the service anymore. And let's see. Yeah, let's go with that. I'm gonna make it a one-liner here because I think that's gonna be a little easier later on. And the last one. Here we go. And I'm gonna just copy all of this. Hopefully it will work. Then we're gonna replace the query in here. There we go. Then here we have this, what it should represent in here. So I should call it sport because that's what we are selecting. And we learned the last time that this is important, that we always mention the variable here because it's actually going to show up in that pop-up. So I'm just going to do something like this and do say sport. And I think that might do the trick. Does it actually render if I don't have a query? No. Hopefully the reason it isn't rendering is because I don't have a query at least. Oops. Otherwise I got an error in there. So let's pretend actually we do something. Let's bind the sport because it's always good to have a default. So VD and the default sport could be
What do you want to go with?
curling.
All right.
That seems as sport. Let's see, maybe it renders. No, yeah, now it renders. And it should be, yeah. So it uses this query we just had here. That's really neat. Exactly what I wanted. Okay, then we can start with the rest of the query. Then we actually kind of need to repeat what we did in the past query because we still want that discipline at the specific event. So we did that, if I remember correctly, by making sure it was a part of the Olympic Games or a Winter Olympic Games. So we're still going to need to select those once again. So I think actually, because it auto-completes the name of the past query, I think we can still use them because the ones, other ones are actually in a comment, like technically. So Olympic Games, VDT, I think I used, oops, not no, absolutely not no. Leave me alone. Let's see, instance of Winter Olympic Games. I went with here. Games, there we go. Okay, then I want again the Olympic discipline, like that. And here we use part of any of the Olympic Games, so that this one should be part of. And here we should use reference the Olympics Games variable. And I'm not sure why it isn't auto-completing my variables anymore. Maybe
strange.
it's my fault somehow.
No.
And we did something else here as well. We checked. We need to make sure the sport is the correct one. So I'm going to say sport. There we go. And it should actually be whatever we say here in our bind or through the drop down. So let's go with your sport. Now we should get the disciplines. Then we want to pick out the years and the number of participants. And somehow make sure that we get the correct names of variables to like paint it out here and such. But first I want actually to ensure that we get something that's works, because otherwise I'm gonna need to debug a much longer query. We actually don't need a sport label, but it could be nice to have the discipline label because that should include the sport. So let's do a service here with that. Let's run this. So we just ran it without doing anything. So we get curling. It doesn't do an order yet, but that we can live with that until we pick the date. Then let's see if we just switch out curling for biathlon. So skiing with shooting. We got that result preview, which is nice. We know that the max number is 20, so we got everything actually used in the preview. This has been going on for a little longer, as I understand it. It feels like we had a duplicate, or is it just the order?
I think it's just the order.
It's just the order that confuses me a little. Okay, so it seems to work. So then we should be able to do the number of participants. I'm gonna start this off with an optional, just like beyond it, see if there are any blanks in there. Optional. Then we got the Olympic discipline. There we go. PDT. Number of participants. Let's see. There we go. Did I spell that? No, not at all.
Luckily, it doesn't care as long as you spell it same all the time.
Right, exactly. Let's pretend that at least is so it's spelled. And an optional also for the year. And that I've seen it mostly, and Jan used the same way. It's point in time. Olympic discipline. Point in time. There we go. Point in time. Pete. Let's do it like that. And then participants and Pete. Let's go. 16. And we actually got like a complete list here, which is nice. And just to ensure, let's try it with something else. This was biathlon, so let's go with freestyle skiing. I want something Nordic combined, maybe. Yeah, Nordic combined is gonna be. There we go. And it runs. We got 20 results. I'm actually gonna click the button. Is select sport relevant? No, it's not. But here we got long, but we got like one that's missing. It's the 2022, so we don't have a number there yet.
Yeah.
But we can live with that. So I'm actually gonna, it seems like the data is very complete here. So I'm gonna pretend it is, and we might see in the timeline later on that it's not, but let's pretend it is. If there is probably as little that we can actually ensure that it's complete. So there we go, no longer optional. That's neat. Then I want it to be ordered by the point in time. There we go. Point in time. So I'm gonna run it again. Oh, I was looking at the completely wrong space, but we can kind of see.
Interesting. So there's some gaps.
There is some gaps, you say?
Between 36 and 48.
Yeah, but I don't
that
think
might be in the wars.
Yeah, exactly. It was during the Second World War, so it was actually
yes.
cancelled that year. I'm pretty sure.
40 and 44.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. But we got a gap here.
14.
2010, 2014 is missing here. That was the sport, right? So if I click on the discipline here, actually, it usually I got this followed and follows. Followed. So let's see. That's the one missing. So it's either missing participants or point in time. No.
It has them both.
It has them both, exactly. Has it ended up in the wrong place? Here we got another one, right?
2006 is missing, yes. It could be if the because you see they have part, but did you have part of somewhere? And if they're not symmetrically modeled yet?
Has part, that's not, is part of, right? Part of 2014 Winter Olympics. That should be correct.
Yes.
Let's double check a thing. I can just copy this query temporarily. Is this set to the... No, not that one, that one.
It might be missing sport.
Oh, that's a good one. There you go. No, Nordic
No.
skiing. It's not the correct one. It's not Nordic skiing. It's Nordic combined.
Ah, Dutch Wikipedia.
It's yes, that's it. It's an easy mistake to do, especially if it's by a robot.
Yeah.
Or a somewhat automated too. Okay, we know what the case is. I'm gonna keep on with the query and let's see if we can catch a couple more of them once we got the timeline. Because now we essentially got data here, right? We got the number of participants. I just want it to be looking like a neat graph as well. So let's see what our options are if I just go this way. So I think a line chart would be very nice with like the year and and the number as the water axis. So before clicking that, we can see here that we got like the point in time is always the 1st of January because we just got the date. I want to just make it easier, this one, and just get the year directly because that will make it easier to read on the plot. So I'm gonna do year, which is essentially we can, whenever we got the date, we can just call year to get the year and use the year, and then do as, and I'm gonna call it year, and then I want it to be ordered by year as well, like that. Rerun it. We got it a little bit simplified, but I think this is what we need. So let's see if we just click on the line chart here and see what it does by default. So it got us ordered here by the label, and I think that might, no, it doesn't really technically work. The order ends up being a little odd, but this is the participants.
No, it goes from the highest to the lowest, so it's not ordered.
Oh, right, it's just ordered by this one.
Yeah. Strange, though.
Strange indeed. So the question is, what should we change to make this look nice? And we got this question mark here, which is actually very helpful because that takes us to the documentation, not just for the query service, but for the result views. And then I'm gonna head over to the line chart and area chart and a bunch of things here. So we learn here that the first variable we select will be the x-axis, and the second will be the orchard one. So we just need to make sure that they are in the correct order here. So the Olympic discipline and discipline label. No, thank you. We don't need you. And the sport. So that would be in the x-axis, and that would be, let's try this, and otherwise just switch places and see what happens. And let's do the line chart. I should. That's the year. Doesn't work perfectly. Let's see what happens if I just switch place on them. Oops. Oh no. Here we go. I'm gonna try this because I don't want to figure out how it actually works, if I can avoid it. Oh, so it has an odd way of starting at 0 always.
Yes.
So here around 2K we actually get the numbers.
That's probably right.
Exactly. I think this does the correct thing.
Yeah.
And actually show us that we were at like a record year here, 2018, and the year before, 2014. But can we make this better? I'm gonna head over back to the combination. I do not know this. I didn't do it. I didn't go as far when I played with it. There doesn't seem to be a variable of some sort. Let's try this line chart and just see if the example shows something. Seems like we can even do a bit of animation here. So let's see. Here to begin with, that starts at 0 as well. I imagine that's
No,
how
it started at
works.
1650.
No. Oh, they actually got the years right down here. Let's see what's going on in this query then. Oh, it's a include one. They do a group by country year. They select country and year.
I think the trick is to make it a string.
Yeah, right. That should actually work. Not because it's a little bit of a hack, but it will indeed work, I believe. Because then it won't know that it's a number and 0 won't mean anything, so to say.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Let's do it correct. Here we go. Default view should be the line chart. All right. There we go. Let's see if we got them in the correct order as well. 2018. Yeah, that did the trick. So participants for this particular sport, which is Nordic Combined, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So let's play with this. Let's select, I want to say biathlon. I don't want the result view, I want a real view. But we can see that that has also gone up from the 1960s. And let's see if the dates are used in the right order. Yeah.
And no one missing there either.
And none seems to be missing, no.
Yeah, better data.
Let's see. Ice hockey?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of considered a large one nowadays. Here we only got a few years, but it was recently introduced, right? As well.
Ice hockey. No, it's been around for a long time, but I guess
In the
it's a
Olympics.
trickier. Yes, but I guess it's trickier to know what is the number of participants, the number of teams, or the number of
Oh, right. It might
athletes.
be, yeah. The
So
historical
people
data for the number of participants. We all see that it's a very high number.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Did we see ice hockey more than once here? So let's try mountaineering, that I believe is a future one, and you see what happens. No records. So that's the reason. So it could be slightly improved, but yeah. At least I show that I know things about the Olympics. Let's see bob here, which is, I think this used to be more popular, but I wonder if that's also seen here in the showcase. So in the 50s, going
Nicholas
into 60s,
said ice hockey was an
70s.
Olympic sport since before the Winter Olympics.
Oh.
Even.
Yeah, that's interesting note. Yeah. So we can't really see this like popularity swing that I was talking about with Bob. In the Olympics, it seems to have just gone up still, which is kind of interesting because I think it's kind of a result of countries trying to fill their teams with as many people as possible always. Cross-country skiing, like super popular in Scandinavia. Whoa, that's a big jump. 2018 actually. But here
we're
we are
missing a lot of data.
Yeah. And I can imagine why, because this is like both teams and like non-teams all in the same. So that's
also hard to count.
Bandu. Is it still around? Yeah, I imagine so. No results. No data.
We're bad on team sports, it seems like.
Yeah, which kind of makes sense. Military patrol. It's a former sport. It even said that. No, we got no results.
The short track ice skating, that's quite new.
Let's see.
No, or short track, I think perhaps is.
Short track speed skating, that's the name, yeah. 9.
88.
So
All right,
88.
yeah.
And it looks like we got the years. Yeah. So it also, the overall pattern seems to be that they go up. We try the long one as well. 20, so let's run it. 23. Yeah, similar here. Yeah, so I'm gonna share this query. It was the query of the day on my end. I'm very happy with it. I think it's one of those, just like last week, it's one of those queries which is kind of interesting if one is also interested in the topic. It's a useful thing just to learn stuff, so to say. And I think that's it.
Oh, it would be neat if you could embed templated queries in Wikipedias.
Oh, indeed.
But I think
That-
we're quite far from that.
Yeah. I think we are.
That would
But
be
indeed,
pretty cool.
It's an interesting idea.
Because then you could have one on the Winter Olympics, you could have this sort of query and anyone could like flip it through and see.
Yeah. Indeed, it would be like having something like the graph extension, but with that type of interactive input.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, it would be very useful indeed. Great. And with that, I think I've shown what I wanted to show today.
All right.
So combining a bit of what we have used the last few weeks, I just really enjoyed working with template queries.
Yeah, and it wasn't so much focus on the 2022 Olympics. It was more like of a viewpoint from now and back in both cases. But neat to get some sort of like insight. And I guess both of these can also be used for maintenance, because for your query, you could see the gaps and go back and fill in what kind of data you're using. So make the modeling complete.
Yeah, and yours was very direct because you could actually just see the gaps in the query itself.
Yeah. And I guess Nicholas is on it here. Thanks for today and happy editing.
Happy editing.